Good evening, NBs,
ladies,
and gents,
and those who can't pay rent.
and welcome to another episode of the Queer Peer Podcast.
All right, so it's that season.
Yeah. So when we're recording this,
Yeah,
the election just happened.
yeah. I mean,
Like
by the
last
time
week,
we
last week.
the last week
Yeah.
or the week before,
By the time this is out, who knows when that'll be?
it'll probably be before he's sworn in, so that's good.
That's
Maybe something happens in between then and now.
Who knows?
Gosh, but I don't know. I'm feeling a little nervous about the future of our terrible country. I mean, it was already terrible, but now it's going to be even more terrible. Like, truly.
I mean, my thing with the election is, like, regardless of who won, it was gonna, like, implode on itself.
Yeah.
And, like, no matter what, like, there's an ongoing genocide.
Yeah.
That was gonna be funded by, like, either party.
Yeah.
It's just, like, gonna get worse faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm literally just like, yeah.
Yeah.
But let's talk about, before all the, the shit went down. Pre-election. The anticipation, kind of like the campaigning, everything that happened before it happened. I'm saying it like it's some great calamity, which it is.
I'm so... Okay, I am honestly so glad this fucking shit is over. Like, as much as, like, I don't like that he won.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
It's done with. And the Democrats are still asking for money.
Goodness gracious. I mean, truly, it's like, my only hope is that he doesn't do some fuck shit, and this actually is the last time that he can be president, ever. And then we're done with him. We'll never have to see him on the news again, and he'll become irrelevant. Anyway.
Irrelevant.
I'm going to auto-defenestrate myself.
No, I fully believed that you had said it right. So
thanks for believing me, truly. Like, the trust that we have. You give me Chip, I give you Mike. Goodness. But everything leading up to before the election, it's like so nerve-wracking. The way that like everyone was like just arguing in the streets and like everything leading up to it, like the way that some people would just like burn mail-in ballot boxes. I don't know if you ever thought
that shit was happening.
Like, oh my god. It's actually crazy how many people actually got denied their mail-in ballots. Which was like...
Even a friend of ours, like, because of voter registration issues, couldn't vote.
There were, like, a lot of people that I knew that couldn't vote. And I'm noticing that it's kind of, like, our demographic that's, like, getting messed up in this.
Yeah.
The whole, like, college student, queer, blue hair pronoun. Like... I'm realizing that, like...
I literally have blue hair.
And pronoun. But, well, everyone has pronouns, so you can't even escape that. But I'm realizing that, like, why is it just our demographic? It kind of feels targeted that all of our, like, everyone in our demographic mail-in ballots got, like, fucked in some way or, like, declined, which I didn't even know you could decline that. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. The fact that he was trying to sway the election in any capacity... really telling, and the fact that Elon Musk was like heavily on his side this time and was openly also bribing people and like Republicans to vote is even crazier. I truly don't believe or can't believe that this man ran for president and then not only ran but successfully ran somehow. Like, it just feels like things aren't lining up.
And I think that has a lot to do with Kamala's campaign in my mind as well.
Sorry.
Where like, I mean, she ran a shit campaign.
She did.
Because she just tacked to the right, wouldn't separate from Biden on most issues, and he was, like, 30% approval rating, historically unpopular, shouldn't have been running in the first place.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, in Dearborn, Michigan, she, like... Trump was at like 45%, Jill Stein was at 33%, I believe, and she was below that. So like, this town that has high percentage of Arab American voters voted heavily away from Kamala because she's actively abetting a genocide.
Yeah.
But like, in a district that she didn't win, Rashida Tlaib, who has been very outspoken for the Palestinian people, I mean, she is Palestinian, won that district. So I think like people who are saying that the genocide had no effect on this election are full of shit.
Actually crazy. Actually insane.
It absolutely, when you look at the uncommitted movement, the number of people who voted uncommitted versus the number of votes that Kamala needed to win the state of Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, these swing states, it was all well within the range of those numbers. I saw a poll where people, I believe it was in Pennsylvania, who were like, if she did an arms embargo, how much more like would you be more likely to vote for her in the election? And like 74% of people were like, yes.
Yeah.
So it's so obvious to me that would have been a very popular policy, particularly with young voters.
Yeah.
They needed the Arab American vote, absolutely. They lost Michigan because they didn't have it.
Wasn't like putting her foot down on any like policies.
Yeah.
She was like so much trying to like sway like Republican voters when she should have just been like honing down on her own Democratic
non-existent moderate voters.
Yeah.
She's running a right-wing campaign, and all of the like Republicans are like, we're just gonna vote for the Republican.
Yeah, it doesn't even make sense to like try to cater so hard to the Republicans, like the opposite side. And living in like a swing state, I don't know if you got these crazy ads on YouTube as well, but there were so many advertisements everywhere, all over like any device ever, like just like advertising for the campaign. And so like I was getting hit with a lot of advertisements from both sides, and like getting advertisements at first I couldn't tell like what the advertisement was like who they were trying to promote, because it was all of the advertisements just was so Republican leaning that like I really just like was like, wait, what advertisement is this for? And then at the very end it'd be like, vote Kamala, and I'd be like, oh, okay. Okay, I see now. That's not, like, I don't know why she like did that. I don't know why she approved of that. Like, I don't know. The Democratic Party in itself just needs to get its shit together.
Yeah.
Maybe like this will be like a hard lesson.
I think they have for a really long time, but they're not gonna fucking learn anything.
Yeah.
They didn't when Hillary Clinton ran.
They didn't.
I mean, this is not the first time something like this has happened, and they're already blaming, minorities and blaming like Latino voters, or they're blaming Arab American voters, or they're blaming trans people, or all the like college protesters.
Like,
and it's like,
why are you blaming us? We would be on your side if you like had a side in the first place.
If you weren't evil.
Exactly. Goodness gracious. Sorry, we both said at the same time.
I know.
Gosh.
What was I gonna say?
How do you feel? Let's go to election night blues.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, also her parading around with a Dick Cheney endorsement. War criminals are peas of a pod, I guess.
All of our politicians suck right now.
Yeah, no, it's all, the whole thing is like rotten.
But yeah, election night itself.
Yeah, yes, transitioning.
Transit where?
Like I did to my gender. You were in class.
Yeah, I mean, well, I was in class when like the brunt of like the results were kind of coming out. That day I kind of just woke up. My first 2 classes were canceled, so I just like was like, okay, I'll just go vote. First and foremost, went ahead and voted, did the thing, and I just like went to fucking school because one of my classes wasn't canceled for some reason. And that was kind of it. Like, it was like kind of like a bland day. I wasn't like super stressed about it because I fully believed like there's no way Trump's gonna win. I fully believed it. I was like so unbothered because I was like, we're not gonna let a fucking crazy bastard like him win. But somehow, lo and behold, I wake up in the morning and my roommates are having a breakdown.
I was fully like, he's gonna win. Yeah. She did not run that kind of campaign, and it was gonna be something that was successful.
Yeah,
because she like lost the popular vote, and like looking at the numbers, like there were just a lot of people who just didn't vote at all, or like abandoned the Democratic Party, because Trump's votes that he received did not were decreased from 2020. He got less votes, but the Democratic Party, Kamala, got significantly less votes than Biden. And I think there's this overall abandonment of the Democratic Party, and I think it's not good that people are abandoning the Democratic Party to like vote for Trump.
Yeah.
Like that.
That's
like I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, you're doing this thing that is bad that I disagree with, so I'm going to vote for the other guy." And it's like, "No, that guy's like don't do that."
Even worse, yeah. I think it's more like I feel like the Democratic Party, like, we just lost so much faith after like all of the things that were just like made it so obvious that which do you want, Republican or Republican even more? Like it wasn't like great options. And
it's been that way
for a while. And I feel like the only reason Joe Biden even won is because we were like, it can't be Trump, so we have to vote Joe. But
it was straight after a Trump presidency during COVID.
Yeah.
And I think the pandemic had a lot to do with why he won.
Yeah.
And he barely won.
Yeah.
Like, he barely scraped it by.
If all the conditions were the same, like, and it was like during that same time, but it was Kamala and Trump instead, we probably would have voted Kamala too. The only reason that like Biden won is because like of like the circumstances of the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't gonna happen again because the circumstances are different, and you're just making all of your voters lose faith.
Which is why she needed to separate from Biden.
Yeah.
On a lot of issues.
She needs to like just become her own politician.
Do something new instead of keeping yourself attached to this person who is historically unpopular.
Yeah.
And I think that could have helped her. Not that I was, like, thrilled about her being president.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah. I think there is genuinely some fears, especially as, like, a trans person under Trump presidency.
Literally 2 out of the 3 of my roommates are trans. So when I tell you that I woke up in the morning and there was, like, so much sadness and like tension in the house, I'm not kidding. Kind of like immediately after we saw like the results, apparently one of my roommates woke up at 5 a.m, saw the results, couldn't go back to sleep, and then just kind of wandered around the house kind of doing like menial tasks and chores.
That was the same thing for me. On election night, was laying on my floor stress eating Mike and Ike's, and then I went to bed at like 1:30.
God.
After like watching the results come in, and it just get continually worse. And then I woke up for like no reason at like 5 in the morning. Like, I was like, why am I awake? Might as well check the election results. And I thought we had days before we knew, because that's how it was in 2020.
I mean, technically we should have had days. I don't know why they didn't like wait, because like there were some states that were still on the fence, and then also a lot of mail-in ballots hadn't gotten counted yet. Like
it's kind of a mess.
Yeah.
But like a bunch of ballots haven't been cured. Like it's crazy. But like we knew way sooner than I thought we were gonna know. So I was like, oh, it probably hasn't really changed much. And I pull up the election results, and it's like projected winner Donald Trump, and I was like, well, there goes any more sleep I was gonna get. Yeah.
It sucked. It sucked so bad. That whole day we just went on like a trauma train, is how I like to call it. We went out. We went to like a store and just like got a shit ton of snacks, comfort food galore. And then we went and we got lunch to go because we were just going to eat at home. And then we got ice cream and we went to go because we were going to eat at home. And then we went home and just played Stardew Valley, like a comfort game, just to like go through the day. It was really bad.
Yeah.
God. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's gonna have such a major effect on, like, queer people. This whole podcast is about queer people, LGBT people, like, the whole, like, and it's gonna suck because our people are going to suffer the most because of the legislations that are gonna be passed, but we're also just gonna, like...
Yeah, queer people and immigrants I think are on the forefront of that.
It's gonna suck for anyone who's not straight, rich, and white.
Yeah, I was talking to one of my professors because we talked about it in several of my classes. Um, and he was like, because I had like talked about how I was feeling as a trans person, and he was like, that really sucks. And he was like, I'm in no position, because he's straight and cis and white, right? And he was like, I'm in no position to tell other people how to feel about this election. And I kind of appreciated him saying that. And like understanding that, like, because I see a lot of people who are like talking to people of color specifically and immigrants specifically and being like, oh, like it's gonna be okay, and like things like that, where I'm kind of like, you don't really get to say that from a point of privilege to this person who's gonna like suffer the most under this presidency.
What's also different too is that we're like kind of in a different environment than what we're used to. Like, we used to go to this like crazy art college, which was just surrounded by like queer people of all sorts and people of color like galore out the wazoo. It was great. But now we're like in a more environment where it's like a quote unquote normal college. So we just like, we don't have like as much of a community, or it's not as easier to find like people who like would relate to you and like understand the struggles that you're going through.
It's definitely different. It's like a majority white college. And it's also like there are more straight people.
Yeah, it just simply is a fact, unfortunately.
That's just
I actually see jocks now. That's crazy.
I know.
God.
And like, I mean, I even had someone like using the F slur as an insult to his friend.
What?
Like, just like saying it because his friend was like playing a video game badly, and I like overheard this, and it reminded me. I'm like, oh, I'm not in Kansas anymore.
Oh God. Yeah, no, that sucks so bad.
And I'm like, I'm not as safe here as I was there.
Exactly.
There are positives to the school that we're at now, though. At least in like the English department specifically.
Yeah.
Like, the professors in the English department slap.
They're really chill. We actually have like
awesome
deep discussions about like different issues, and it feels like a like way more understanding environment.
Yeah, like the English department specifically, I feel very safe and comfortable with those people in that environment. Maybe not as safe and comfortable in the school as a whole as I might have, but like at this school, so that's nice.
That's good.
And I also feel like I feel like I'm gonna like walk out of there with like a career. Like, I feel like I'm like making connections. I don't know.
What's crazy is, as a double major, I get to kind of like peek into two different like departments. So I've got like the writing department and like the art department. And I feel like, you know what's crazy? I think the writing department is more comfortable for me because there are not as many like queer people that you'd expect like in the art department.
That's interesting. I feel like the theater department is pretty gay.
Maybe theater. Yeah. We are right across the street from theater, so maybe I'll just knock on the door and be like, let me in. Let me in.
And just based on like who was performing at the show that we last saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goodness. What topic are we even on now? We're so
we're
out of order.
We can just kind of yap. It's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still, because particularly with the like election and how it's affecting us like community wise, like not on like a grander scale, but definitely like being at the school we're at and not at an art school where like the vibe is different in that way after the election. But even like the president sent out like this email like, we stand with like our trans community.
Yeah, I saw that.
And like
too.
I know we're all like thinking about the results, and like they're trying to be like neutral, but it's clear they're trying to be like, it's fucked up that he won, and like we're gonna support our queer students, and like I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And like that's the biggest thing, is like looking at the people from history, the queer people in history, and the ways that they fought against oppression and using those same tactics. And just like community is so important.
Yeah.
We got to come together. We got to protect each other. And yeah, just band solidarity is important. And we can't have a bunch of like infighting with each other. Like we just got to protect each other. And I think like this is kind of like the downfall of the U.S. empire, essentially. That's what it feels like.
That's what it is. That is what it is, dude.
Like it's coming to a head in this presidency and just going like fully into fascism.
Yeah.
And like that fascism goes against human nature. It is not something that is built to last. Like it will end, it will fall, but we have to protect people in the process of that because people are put in harm's way as that all kind of collapses.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, I get to live through like the collapse of society.
I feel like that's definitely what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It really feels like I don't want to be one of those people, but the end of the world is nigh. Like,
I mean, it was 80 degrees on November. I walked out. I saw like a tweet where someone was like, I love walking out into 80-degree weather after Adolf Hitler just won the election and controls all levers of government. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, that is what it is.
Yeah.
God. I mean, what's also important, I just want to say this, since we have like this kind of platform that we're making, band together as much as possible. If you're in any kind of like minority group, if you're queer in any way, if you're a person of color, if you feel like you've just, I don't know, if this is really fucking you over, just like band together, truly like make a community. Don't give up, because I know unfortunately there's like a very high statistic of people not wanting to be here anymore because of Trump's winning. And like, no, I get it, but we really can't let that be like the end all be all. We have to like come together and be like, come out on top of this, because if we don't do it, who is?
Yeah.
Who is going to do it?
Someone has to do the work.
Yeah.
Someone has to stay to do the work. Like, we can't all leave. As much as we would like to move to Mars.
Yeah, or the moon.
Because it would be easier that way. But yeah, I mean, it depends on how things go. I'm definitely have leaving in the back of my mind as something that I might need to do. And I'm not judging anyone who is leaving.
Yeah.
For their own safety, and like we need to think about safety. If you're trans, get your legal name change, get your legal gender change, stockpile on hormones, look into DIY. Like, you know, you have to have those things in mind. You know, reach out to your like trans and queer orgs. Like, yeah. Well, but like, what was I saying before that?
Don't move to Mars.
Oh, I do have like leaving in the back of my mind as like an option where it's like, if I need to, there are options. But like, as long as I have people here, like I would consider you like family at this point. I would consider like some of our friends family to me. And I have like my actual family here, and I'm like, as long as I have people here who are in harm's way, like I don't want to leave them behind. Like they either need to come with me or like I'm staying to look out for them. Like that's how I feel about it. Yeah, I'm just gonna like buckle the fuck up and we're gonna see what happens.
Well, so we can't make enemies out of each other.
Yes.
Like, your friends who are your family, get even closer to them. Just, like, keep them close as much as possible. We can't, like, because that's what they want from us. They want us to, like, be pit against each other and, like, forget who the actual enemy is.
And, like, the people, and not even just, like, Trump himself and his administration, but the people in power as a whole want the working class pitted against each other. Because when we unite and have each other's common interests at heart, that's powerful. And they're scared of that.
Yeah.
Which is why we need to scare the shit out of them and band together.
God, let's do it.
And like, and I'm seeing a lot of like liberals on stuff on the internet, like talking about like, oh, if you have like a Latino neighbor who voted for Trump, like contact ICE and have their family deported.
Jesus Christ.
Which is like, scratch a liberal and a fascist bleeds, like, as the saying goes.
God.
Like, deportation is just so inhumane. I'm
It's
like,
crazy.
even if someone voted for Trump, like, they don't deserve to get deported.
You know what? That story you were
They
telling.
don't have their family.
Yeah.
Like, that's evil.
That's bad. That's not humane at all.
And y'all are the people who are out here pretending to be pro human rights.
Yeah.
And he wins and the mask is off.
That's not good.
That's not unity, and that's not what we need to get through this.
It's not.
We don't need to, like, blame minorities. Because it's the people in power. It's their fault.
Yeah.
These things that are happening...
It's the people in power.
Always their, like...
Every single issue can, like, once you, like, trace it down, like, follow the river, it all leads back to the people in power.
Right. Capitalism, white supremacy, and those who are holding on to those systems.
If they keep... What they're basically doing is exploiting the system. And if they keep fucking with it, poking the bear, then the system is eventually going to just unravel. And then at that point, they'll be out of power, and we're going to have to make a new system.
And the way that our society is built is not built in a way that works with human nature. We're not solitary beings. Like... we're built to be in a more community-centric society.
Yeah.
Which is why it's all gonna implode.
Yeah.
And we get to live through it imploding.
Dude, deportation as a threat is crazy.
Is
It's
your
almost
neighbors,
like
your fucking neighbors, and the people and their families.
That's
like my mom, who is probably listening to this, has a friend. And someone she, like, has a friend who went to the Madison Square Garden rally that Trump did, and she didn't really, like, know her friends too much about her friend's politics up until this point, but saw her post about it on Facebook, and just this insane post. It was insane. And we had a whole conversation about it, and she was like, I'm not talking to this person anymore. And I think that that's very valid. But she would also never try to get that person deported.
Yeah.
There was also someone being like this person that they know voted for Trump, but like she also had gotten an abortion at one point. Or like, well, when Trump's president, like, you can find a way to report her, and like she'll like, this is what she voted for. And it's so gross.
It's not good. The story you were telling earlier about someone calling you, or not calling you, but like calling their friend the F slur.
Oh, yes.
I feel like we're going down the path of, like, people using deportation as, like, a threat or, like, a slur. Or, like saying in the video game, like, man, you just cost us the game, dude. We're gonna fucking deport you. Like, I feel like that's the kind of the road that we're heading down.
Yeah.
And doesn't that feel like a dark path? This feels like some sci-fi bullshit.
Because, I mean, I'm someone who is, like, no, like, they say, like, Kamala supports open borders, but she's, like, pro the border wall. But, like, I'm like, that's not, honey, that's not, we don't have an open border. Like, I support an actual open border.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck the border. It's just land.
It's just land. It's not even ours.
It's not even
ours.
Like... a huge chunk of, like, the Southwest belonged to Mexico, and then all the rest of it was for, like...
Dude,
like, it's not... none of it's ours.
Sorry, I need to remember my lefts from my rights. America started in, like, the fucking East Coast, and it barely, like, was... It didn't belong to Americans in the first place, first off. First and foremost, it belonged to, like, Native Americans, and... Not only did they were just like, let's keep going to the West. The whole, like, what was it? West Destiny?
Manifest Destiny.
Yeah.
And this this entitlement
Yeah.
to the land.
That they felt like, oh, this is our land.
And
that's
we're like, you know,
how
like
do you own,
civilizing the people that are here.
right, how do you own the earth? How can you like look at
And
a
it's
regular
still
ass
happening.
person? It's still happening.
That's imperialism
Yeah.
at its core. And the US is
It's built on
a
imperialism.
huge empire, a huge imperialist power
Yeah.
that is actively responsible and abetting many genocides, not
Yeah.
just the current one in Palestine. It is the one in Sudan, the one in the Congo that are ongoing right now, the Yemeni genocide. Like lots of these things that imperial powers, the US mostly, has been involved in. And a lot of the destabilization of, like, quote unquote, third world countries has been a result of American imperialism.
Yeah.
And initially, like, British imperialism and American, and then we just
brought
we
it
just
over.
exported it.
That's not.
We were like, we want to, like, our freedom, and we're just gonna turn into the same thing, but the same thing as, like, just
We're literally built on hypocritism.
we're just gonna do imperialism, but bigger.
but bigger.
Because everything's bigger in America.
Good God. Sorry, that was not a word. Good God.
Good God. And, like, Canada is...
Try. Sorry, go on.
Like, Canada may not have the same kind of imperial power that the US does, but it is, like, people are like, oh, Canada's so much better, and I'm like, they're participating in the same things that the US is participating in and benefiting from commerce with the US. It's just like they're the same. They just don't have as much power as the US has. But if Canada did, they would be doing the same fucking thing.
Literally.
So it's there was this moment, I think we were, like, eating in that diner that we go to that I'm not gonna name on the internet. And, like, we were, like, chatting, and, like, behind, like, the people, I think it was, like, you and another friend of ours, and, like, behind you guys there's the TV in the diner, and it was like Biden gives address to, like, Indigenous Americans, blah 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 blah.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
I didn't even
like,
notice that.
apologizing for, like, what we did to them, which we
That's
still
crazy.
to this day are not calling a genocide.
Dude, I'm so sorry that my ancestors did this to your ancestors. You know, my bad.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Apologize to you for slavery?
Right? You could. It'd be really funny. Live on air.
I know. I just, like, give you $1 as reparations.
No, really. That's what it feels like. Because, like, the government spends so much fucking money on genocide and military and stuff that we don't agree with or need. And then when it comes to, like, reparations or, like, trying to actually help, like, Indigenous people, they're just, like, it feels like just handing a person $1. Because it's, like, that's as much as you're giving them out of how much you have to spend.
I mean, they're not really putting any sort of effort into social welfare at all. And that affects Black and brown people the most, to have those things be underfunded.
Yeah.
Because of, like, the white supremacist system that this is built on.
Yeah. I grew up on food stamps. When I tell
Yeah.
you, like, my mom has a lot of children. I have 6 siblings. And we grew up in a household where, like, we were fully raised on food stamps. That was the only way we could get food at all. And eventually, I mean, like, I guess the government probably tried to give us as much money as they could, whatever. Probably not. But eventually, near the end of the month, we'd run out of food stamps. And then for, like, a week and a half, we'd just be sitting starving. Like, sitting on the stairs. And, like, the weekends were the worst, because at least on the weekdays, we could go to school and get food. But on the weekends, we would literally not eat anything for basically 2 days straight. And then, first of the month would come again, and we'd be like, finally, food! Like, it's crazy being raised, like, as, like, a Black person and also poor in America, because I know that the government could have put its fucking foot down and did better, but it never did, and it just lets down children the most.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I think it's a James Baldwin quote. James Baldwin, where he says that like all of the children of the world, and I'm misquoting this, I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
But like all of the children of the world are our children. And like, yeah, we should be looking out for all
children.
Children and future generations, because that matters. And you're right, it does affect children the most. And it also, like, they don't want to help black and brown people because it's a white supremacist system.
They just want us
It's
to go
working as designed.
They just want us to go to the fucking school to prison pipeline so that
Yeah.
they can enslave us again in prison.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. But with him apologizing to indigenous people, I'm like, you're like apologizing for this genocide while conducting another genocide of indigenous people across the sea. That's crazy.
Absolutely insane. Absolutely fucking
The
insane.
lack of self-awareness.
I don't even know how they do it. I don't know how politicians can get up there and smile and just be as they are while so much of the world is in fucking shambles because of them. I don't know. I genuinely need to know how they have the fucking gall and audacity to wake up in the morning and just be normal.
I think they're just evil.
You heard it here first.
Politicians are evil.
Hot new idea. Politicians
no
fucking suck.
Ever said it before.
We're the first people to ever think that politicians are really bad. I can't believe this.
Yeah. Cause like, yeah, I believe deeply in humanity. It's the reason that I get up in the morning is I'm like, humans are fundamentally good. Like, I think we live in a society and in a world that promotes our worst behaviors, our worst instincts, our worst impulses, and allows people to like have a lack of humanity or an apathy. But I'm like, I believe that very few people are beyond redemption, and I believe that there is at our core like a care for one another that is like there within our instincts, and we just need to live in a society that brings that out, where we look out for each other. And if I didn't believe that, I don't think I could like exist.
Yeah.
Like,
no,
I'm like, I have to have that kind of faith.
I have like more
people.
grimmer faith on people, but pop off. I think people fucking suck.
I mean, they do, but they have the potential not to.
Are you
is
gonna...
what I'm saying.
Okay. I think... Alright, I mean, I guess we're getting into, like, the nature of, like, humanity and morality.
Yeah.
We really went off topic from the election, but... Truly, I think that people, like, fundamentally are evil. Is that bad? I'm sorry.
I mean, I disagree.
I think, like, the only thing kind of, like, morally making people, like, make good decisions just because of, like, kind of social backlash and, like, being judged from other people. I think people think so much and so highly of what other people think that every single one of us has convinced ourselves that, like, we can't be bad. We have to be good. We have to be nice. We have to be hospitable, because we don't want to be judged by other people.
I think that's a fair point. But I'm going to give an anecdote here.
It's like, I agree, but...
like, I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, no,
I don't fully agree.
No.
But, like, you know the book The Lord of the Flies? I don't know if you've read it.
Vaguely.
But I read it in, like, early in high school. And essentially, boys stranded on an island after a plane crash. There's, like, a fight for power between... There's, like, a fight for power between some of the boys, and, like, essentially a bunch of them die, and it's, like, a mess, and they're all, like, brutal and evil to each other, and it's based on an actual thing that happened. But in reality, they all just, like, looked out for each other and got rescued by a fisherman and are all best friends.
Counterpoint. There was another thing that also happened in reality on I believe it was a squid catching ship. And being in the squid industry apparently fucking sucks because you're out in the ocean for months and it's like you're sweating so much and you're working so hard and you're like just catching squid all day and it smells horrible. But I digress. You know, I'm not here to narc on the squid industry. But there was apparently like a squid ship that like for a while just like I guess didn't land or like it wasn't scheduled to land for a while. And so it was very isolated, and like a bunch of people murdered each other. So I don't know. I feel like it could go either way. It depends on like a lot of social circumstances.
Yeah, for sure. I think it is very heavily based in social conditioning, and like I think that if we lived, like I feel like if we lived in a society where people had their basic needs met, that was community oriented, where kind of the core of the society is around like looking out for each other, and like that's kind of the core values of the society and that's what it's built upon. I think that would condition people to feel like they should look out for each other, because that's kind of the way that they have to live. I think people fucking suck, for sure, but I think that that's a result of the social conditions that we live under, and I think people have the potential to not suck.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. I also, if you saw me pick up my phone for a second, I was just double checking that what I said about the squid ship was true. I didn't want to just be spouting some bullshit. I don't know. I barely remember where I heard that story. It was. Someone was like, it was like a mutiny. So, like the captain was thrown overboard or something. But I don't know. I guess if you were to like just put people on an island that was isolated and not have them grow up around like the normal kind of like social circumstances and just leave them be, maybe they could grow up to be like a very nice community. I feel like a lot of like social things can like turn a person really bad. And then if you were to put those then bad people, like they're bad people now because of like those social things, if you were to put them on an island, it would be a different story.
Yeah. And I'm thinking about this. We talked about this in one of my classes because we were talking about like celebrating the death of fictional characters and how we feel like that's like more valid than celebrating the death of real people, which like yes. And my professor brought up the death of Osama bin Laden. Very bad guy. Very bad guy.
Yeah.
Want to say terrorist, bad guy. But this moment that he witnessed, I was like a baby, or I was like 5 or something when this happened, when he was killed. But like this moment on TV at a baseball game where people find out the news and this whole baseball stadium full of people is celebrating.
That's crazy.
And he's like, it is a very American thing to, like, first of all, a baseball game.
Yeah.
And secondly, to watch a baseball stadium full of people celebrate the death of this person who they've been told to hate.
Yeah.
And, like, not a bad person to hate. But still a human being. And, like, what does it say about us culturally that everyone is united in celebrating the death of somebody?
What does it say about us culturally that sometimes like friend groups are made from hating someone? I don't know.
Yeah.
America fucking sucks. Is question mark?
Yeah.
Is that the end message?
That's not a question mark.
God.
But also, like, when the Queen died, I celebrated.
I didn't know anything about the Queen. I heard she died. I was like,
I mean,
huh.
she
Okay.
runs. I mean, she was running the, like, she was responsible for, like, a lot of harm done to people in Africa. I mean, she was, like, running Britain during, like, its colonial era, which is still, like, did we say this on the internet? Are we gonna get put on the list?
No, we already are.
We already are. List.
Let me just say this right now. If you put me on a list, you're not invited to the cookout. Sorry.
God.
Yeah.
But even, like, saying, like joking about how we are now, I'm like, oh, that's kind of awful.
We're not saying that we're going to actively do anything, and in fact, I'd
No.
argue that we're powerless to do anything.
Yeah,
at
but
the
like
moment.
it's still like
we're
there's a
not
part of me
able to.
that is like, oh, I shouldn't like wish death upon people. Like that feels
Oh.
icky. But also like, I mean, when I say I want Trump to die, that doesn't feel icky.
In all honesty, I think we should be wishing more death upon people. I think we just need to point at all the fucking 1% rich ass motherfuckers in power and just like really wish death upon them.
Editing River, just jumping in here to say it's really funny that we had this entire conversation before the United Healthcare CEO's death. I think that's funny. We will probably talk about it in a future episode. Okay, goodbye.
I'm sorry. I really think like
It is time
don't feel bad for doing that.
to roll out the guillotines.
Let's bring it back.
Get your forks and knives ready to eat the rich. Like,
You know how people are like,
we gotta have
like,
that energy.
You know how people are like, stripes are so in season. Guillotines? So in season. Let's bring it back, baby. Oh, God. All right.
Okay, should we do the Patussy segment?
Yeah, we should do the Patussy segment. So, welcome to our segment, Patussy.
We're listing the gayest presidents.
Yeah, so number
That's
one.
all this is.
Number one, Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln.
Got to be.
Gay-ass president. I feel like Obama has to be on the list.
He's given bisexual energy.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
there was also definitely some like conspiracy theories about him like being gay.
Do you
during
remember
his presidency?
Do you remember the? There was like a crack ship. It wasn't real, but there was like a lot of like fake and like kind of funny fan fictions written about it between Obama and Harry Styles.
Of course, there was fucking fan fiction written about Obama and Harry Styles.
What was the ship
because
name?
One Direction fans, because One Direction fans are fucking insane.
But it wasn't like they were. It was like they didn't take themselves seriously. Like it was definitely a crack ship. I mean, another crack ship, Obama and SpongeBob. Listen, I did read the Obama and SpongeBob fan fiction. I must say, disgusting. I hated it. Would not recommend.
I really needed your review on that. Okay.
Who else?
Abe Lincoln and Obama.
I feel like most of the current presidents, whoever was president within the
Donald
2000s and up,
Trump.
Like Trump, Biden,
he's fruity. Like Trump is he's a queen
for sure. He talks like the type of person I'd imagine has a hand on his hip while he's talking.
He with the hand gestures.
Oh my god, he's just like, I hate America, and
no, but he wants to make America great again.
He wants to make America gay again.
Did you see the video of him blowing the microphone?
What? Like,
no,
or do you mean?
I'm gonna look this up for you.
Oh God.
It's obviously not gonna like. We're not gonna show. If
No,
you've
I'ma
seen
show
it,
it.
if you've seen it, you've seen it.
Fine,
for our
fine.
podcast listeners.
Taking a little break. We'll cut this out and then we'll come back to you after I've seen this. All I must say, he didn't just blow it. He gave it a whole hand job and then blew it. Like, he really was making sure.
He put that Hawk Tuah on the, the microphone stand.
If that ain't some patissi behavior.
So Trump is on the list.
He's on the... You think we're on your list? You're on ours, buddy. Like... Goodness gracious.
Abe Lincoln, Trump, and Obama.
I think that's gotta be our top three.
Yeah.
We gotta...
Do we have any more gay presidents?
We probably do. They probably had some, little side pieces.
I don't know if I know enough about most of the presidents to say.
You know what? I feel like it was like a thing. You know how like with the Greeks, they had like, their wives and then their little twinks. their little twinks. I'm sorry, but I think like presidents are in the same vein as priests for me with like having a little twink.
In the same vein as priests?
Well, priests are child predators. And I think presidents are also child predators. Is that crazy?
No, I mean Bill Clinton.
Yeah. More like Bill Clinton. Good lord.
And also Matt Gaetz. And also
Like,
Donald Trump.
Matt Gates. Remember like
Donald
Matt
Trump
Gaetz?
is a predator.
Yeah.
Maybe not a child predator.
Oh, he is.
But like, yeah.
Wasn't it like proven that he was a child predator? There are receipts.
No. Like, he's definitely, like, he's been, like
No,
like,
hold on.
sued for rape. I mean, he was friends with Jeffrey Epstein.
No, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Wasn't there like a whole thing where like some like hacker was like, Trump is a child predator, here's their proof.
I mean, I didn't hear anything like this.
Yeah, no one has.
But, like,
I feel like maybe I like had this in a fever dream, or
like,
maybe
he
it just got
probably
buried.
like, he probably is.
Is Trump a child predator? And not like a little person, like
I
a
mean,
little
he
kid
was friends
a
with
knife, but-
Epstein. Like, I'm like,
They're just saying he's a sexual predator.
yeah. I mean, he definitely is that. We know that for sure.
We know that for sure. It's just like I really feel like he has like had like child predator like allegations against him before. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe
It's
that's not
just
real.
the vibe.
It's just the vibe. I don't know. He doesn't look human. His skin, his sinew, the way that like his nerves move, the way that his face is. This is crazy specific, but he looks uncanny. He looks like a monster that they draw in a video game, in a horror game, and he'd be
He
standing
looks like
down
a
the alleyway.
person wearing a Halloween mask.
Yeah, he's not real. He's an alien or the Antichrist, and I wouldn't be surprised if either was true. Like, it's not. But it's
Yeah.
bad.
Patussi.
Patussi. Thanks for coming to our segment.
All right. We're doing the beloved segment
And
Yep.
also,
that we've only done one other time.
yeah, of course you guys love it. Let's just yap.
Yes.
We need
All
to
right.
like stop talking about this fucking dumpster site of a country and like get into our things that we like. So,
And also
Arcane season 2.
Arcane season
Season
2,
two.
which
Oh,
neither of
fucking
us
God.
have seen.
Wait, we're really like dating ourselves with this now. We definitely gotta like get these out. Like, oh my god!
I
By the
know.
time this is out, you guys have probably already all seen Arcane season 2, but it's like
Yeah.
coming out into motion as we are right now. And oh my god, I can't wait! I've seen some promo art. I've been spoiled a little bit, unfortunately. But-
I have not been spoiled yet. But I mean, I'm in the middle of rewatching season 1 before I start watching season 2. It's so good.
I need to rewatch season 1 too, but I haven't done it yet because I'm waiting for all of season 2 to drop. Like, I really am just like a binger. I want all of something to drop so that I don't have to like wait. And I thought that would help me in season 1, but unfortunately we ended on a fucking cliffhanger, didn't we? But you know, I'm the same way with like anime. Anytime a series comes out that I really like, I'm like, well, I guess I'll wait for the entire season to drop before I sit down and watch all of this.
There's something fun about like a weekly episode drop.
I know,
If people
but-
on the internet are like talking about it,
True.
and then it's like it drops and you go on and like everyone's talking about it, and I'm like, oh, I saw that thing too. Like, that's
Yeah.
really fun. Because when the whole thing drops and you just watch it all in one sitting, you don't get that.
I know, but like my whole vibe is like being in my room in the dark under my blanket 2 a.m. by myself and then just vibing and like binging a whole season of something.
I mean, I watched most of season 1 yesterday.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
I just kept going, well, just one
one more
more
episode. That's how it gets you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot I wrote that.
for our listeners, because you can't see this. We're talking about me. I recently came into some money, and she wrote "coming into money."
But spelled
And-
CUMMING.
So coming into money.
We just looked down and just break out in laughter because I genuinely forgot I did that. Oopsie.
So I recently came into some money. I'm not gonna get into details because I don't know if I should reveal it on the internet. But basically, an accident happened, and I got some money out of it.
Yay. And you're fine. Everyone's fine. No one got
Everyone's
hurt.
fine. Everyone's fine. And now I can pay my tuition.
Yay. Oh, God. Fuck this country. You have to get hurt to get money?
I had a friend of a friend who I like didn't personally meet, but my friend told me this story about how she got hit by a car like crossing the street or something and got a huge settlement out of it and paid off all her student loans.
Whoa.
And I'm like, maybe I
Plan-
should
Plan
get
Z?
hit by a car.
God. There's also that thing with, like, having to, like, be... Man, this is kind of... It's kind of in a similar vein. I don't know if I should bring it up. Maybe we cut it. But, like, being, like, in a mental hospital and, like, if you're basically suicidal or, like, have suicidal ideation, then, like, you're kind of, like... You get your, like, medications quicker, which is really fucked up that we live in a system like that.
Yeah, we have a mutual friend who had to go into a mental hospital to get access to her medication.
That's crazy.
Like, that was the easiest way to do that. Mm-hmm. And that's so fucked up.
Yeah. But anyways, sorry, that feels horrible. If you feel like you're in a situation like that, please, there are helplines, there are resources for you.
Yes. Don't kill yourself.
No, wait! Wait! I don't know. Wait, that's crazy. So, are we keeping that?
I don't...
You know what? Let's say it together. Don't kill yourself. You heard it here first. Yep. That is our message to you.
Yep. If you take anything away from this podcast, just don't kill yourself.
There aren't a lot of lessons to be learned in this life. I think we gave like a list of rules last time. Rule number 5. Don't kill yourself.
Yeah, don't talk to cops. Don't talk to straight people.
Don't touch people.
Don't touch people, and don't kill yourself.
Yeah, so we're on rule number 4 now. God.
There might have been another rule. Follow that one too, if you remember what it is.
We should just like skip a bunch of numbers. Like we have like what 4 or 5 rules right now. Next time we just be like rule number 10.
Yes.
Gosh.
Oh, if you want to talk about, we can talk about more awful stuff. I spilled boiling water on myself.
Oh God, I'm so sorry.
I was making ramen and the pot slipped.
Oh.
And now my hand is burned.
I'm so sorry.
And the only reason I bring that up is because it happened the other day.
Yeah.
And it's on the mind. And if we're talking about this country burning down...
So many things have been going wrong this week. Like, I literally think that there is like an evil spirit in our fucking apartment. And that sounds insane.
Yes.
That sounds crazy.
You gotta talk about the ghost in your apartment.
But ever since like right before the election, my neck started hurting, and it just continued to hurt for a fucking week. And it was like actually kind of horrible. And the only way that it wasn't hurting was when I was away from the apartment. So I started to get suspicious. And one of my roommates is really into like ghosts and that kind of thing. So I straight up asked him. I was like, "Hey, when's the last time you cleansed the apartment?" Can we? And he was like, "I don't know, like a couple months ago. Why?" And I was like, "You should cleanse it again." He was like, "Why? Is it the spirit down the hallway again?" I'm like, "No, no. It feels like something else. It feels like really bad vibes." And he was like, "You know what? I have been feeling drained recently." And like a lot of my other roommates were like, "Oh yeah, I have been also feeling drained." I'm like, "Huh, it seems like there's a common denominator." And one time we were like binging Amphibia, the same roommate who's like into ghosts and stuff, and the TV just fucking cuts off. And he's just like, "I've never seen that happen before." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, it happened like a couple times. It might be a technical issue or it might be the ghost again." So anyway, I started cussing out the ghost. I really was like, we were in the middle of the last episode. How fucking dare you? I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna find your bones and eat them. I was just kind of going off. I don't know. I was like losing it because at that point I was really tired of this shit. And lo and behold, like a couple minutes later, I felt the most drained that I have ever felt in my life. I felt like I was sinking into the couch. And at one point, the roommate who I was watching Amphibia with, like, goes to the bathroom, comes out, and he just looks at me, and it's just like, "Dude, you look so fucking tired. Do you want to, like, wait to finish this?" I'm like, "No." No. But yeah, there's a fucking ghost in our apartment. Did he cleanse
the apartment?
I don't know. I have to ask him if he did, but my neck did stop hurting. So he might have, like, done it already. Like, once I go back, I'll be like, "Hey, did you cleanse it?" And if he's like, "Yes," and it also conflicts with the fact that my neck has stopped hurting, that's, I mean, I don't know.
You know what they say, when there's an evil spirit in your apartment, your neck hurts.
I don't know if that's what they say. God. But Yeah, evil spirits will drain you and make you even more depressed than you normally are. So, get on it.
Yeah.
Do a little bit of research and just cleanse it.
Cleanse your apartment.
I recommend
That's rule
sage.
number 10.
Yeah, sage is good.
Yeah, rule number 10. Cleanse
Rule
your
number
apartment.
10, cleanse your apartment. God. And also the other day, I want to mention, I fucking broke your laptop charger.
Oh, is that the last thing?
That is the last thing
That's
in
the
our
last
in our
thing.
little yap session. I woke up from a fat nap. Truly,
Well, I showed up
You did.
in the like common space we normally hang out at school
yeah.
and found you in the fetal position taking a nap,
I was napping in the worst fucking position ever.
and I was like, I am not gonna wake her up. So I
God.
plugged my laptop in right beneath where your feet were because that's the only plug.
Yeah.
And I sit down. My cord's barely long enough, so I'm like balancing my laptop on my knees, trying to do my homework.
God.
You wake up, leg is asleep.
Yeah, I imagine like I'm sitting in a chair, right? And the plug that his computer's plugged into is like right underneath me. So I just wake up and like my feet are on the chair, so I like put my feet on the ground, but in doing that, I fucking knock over their
You like
whole
pulled
charger.
on the cord, and my whole
the computer fell to
laptop
the ground.
just hits the ground, bends the charger.
It bent the charger. It got like a shortening in it after that, and I felt
Yeah.
so bad. I was like, and I was so disoriented because I was like post nap. I was like, what the fuck is going on? I immediately like just like break your charger, and I'm like, what? Oh, hi. Hi, River.
You didn't even know I was there.
Yeah, I didn't. Oh God.
Yeah. The only reason we're recording this today is because I got a new charger.
Woohoo!
Because this is happening on my laptop.
I mean, I could
So-
also bring my laptop if worst came to worst.
That's true.
But my laptop's really slow. It
Yes.
still has a fucking disc DVD player in it.
I mean, there's a reason we're doing it on my laptop.
Yeah, well, let's just say that much.
And you have the mic. Like, we...
Exactly. Support our Patreon. And maybe I can get a computer without a
the
fucking DVD
Patreon
player.
that we don't have yet.
That we don't. Okay, listen, we'll make it. We'll make it. We will.
We'll make it.
We'll use the
There'll
same
be
exact.
a Patreon.
There will be a Patreon, and the rewards 10 what is that, 10 patrons? 10
think
patrons,
so.
stickers, 100 patrons, prints, 1,000 patrons, face and spine reveal. And
No,
then,
that was for 1,000 subscribers. We switched to subscribers.
oh, we
after
did.
that.
We switched subscribers at the last second. 10,000 subscribers, setup reveal, and then 100 quadrillion tit reveal, singular.
Right, one tit reveal, and then the feet reveal. But
The
that's
fee
only
reveal
for
is like
$1 million.
That's not just subscribers. Like
Yeah.
someone has to physically pay us, or maybe you guys can all come together as a subscriber count and like pitch in to pay us, and then once you pay us, we'll just do our feet reveal.
Yeah.
Figure it out in whatever way feels comfortable.
Daddy Bezos.
Daddy Bezos, what? Yo, what's up?
You want to help out some struggling college students?
No, he doesn't.
No,
No,
he
does
absolutely
not.
does not.
Absolutely. Goodness
Yeah.
gracious. But coming out of the Yap Sesh, final thoughts on the election and kind of the after effects. Businesses are already being messed up. Truly, like, Trump hasn't even been sworn in yet. How about we fight back? Sorry, they wouldn't have any power if we just like, that was me punching my hand, guys, it's fine. That was me punching my hand.
Well, this is what I was saying with like solidarity.
Yeah.
And like us coming together and
Yeah.
uniting.
That's the only way
That's
we can
the
fight back.
strongest that we will be.
We need
is
everybody.
united.
We need the gays. We need the trans people. We need the black and brown
like,
people. We need every single person to get
Everyone
on this.
is so fucking divided.
Yeah.
Over everything.
We need to just forget all these fucking labels and just like remember that at the end we're all just humanity and we want human rights.
Yeah.
Like,
And people are arguing over like semantics and things. And like, oh, like what specific word? Like, it's just like, I'm like, these are not productive conversations to have.
yeah.
Like, let's have these conversations when we have when we overthrow capitalism. Then we can talk about like, have these little like petty arguments about things.
Okay. We're already running so over time, but
Oh
there's
no,
just-
we're at like 1:15, which I think is what we were at last time.
Okay, but there's this little thing I wanted to talk about. But during orientation, they had like a little thing where we would essentially just all be seated up in like a big, like conference room, not conference room, stage, or what's it called?
Gym?
No.
The gym?
We were at
the
art
bleachers.
school. The bleachers.
Oh, wait. You're not talking about our current school.
No, our they had a little show essentially, and it was just like a big, like they were teaching us.
They didn't have that
stuff.
for my orientation.
Well, thank God, because I'm about to say something.
Was this in Hamilton?
No, it was in Gershman.
Because there is like a theater.
A theater
in there.
How did I forget the name of the theater?
Were you forgetting the word theater?
Hush! Listen.
Tamara, you're queer.
No. No, my queer card.
It's being revoked.
How could you do this? You have to understand. Okay, we were in a theater, and it was just like a shit ton of like freshmen and stuff. And essentially, like, one of the professors came up and was like, okay, guys, like, we're gonna call out something, and if that's what you are, just stand up. Sorry, I'm, like, really loud. But, they would be like, if you're black, stand up. And then the black people would stand up. If you're gay, stand up. And then gay people would stand up, you know, like...
You did mention this
last episode. But, like, isn't that just so dividing?
It's just so weird.
It's, like, it feels like labels and, like, kind of, like, putting ourselves into these categories only makes us more divided. Lo and behold, who knew that?
Yeah. Well, it's like, yeah. I mean, because identity itself is like a social construct.
Literally.
Like, and these labels are like, they're man-made. They're not like real and inherent to like our biology or whatever.
Right.
Despite what like conservatives say.
Ugh.
And I think labels can be helpful, and I think they're important to an extent. Like, me being labeled as a queer person, as a trans person, is important because I face different struggles than someone who is straight or cis, and like that needs to be acknowledged. In the same way, like, you're queer, you're a woman of color, like those things need to be acknowledged because they like impact you as a person. But like, also, and like, I think labels help people with their identity, like giving them the language to kind of figure out how they're feeling about themselves, but they're not all encompassing.
They're not.
Like, there is a point where it's like, this is not useful, and there is context where it's like, why are we in this context being like at an college orientation being like, okay, you have all the like black people and all the gay people, and like, because it also ignores like intersectionality.
It does.
And like, this is something that I've talked about in my gender class, which that could be a story for next time.
Your gender class? Sorry, mouthful of food.
But like, this idea of like, we talked a lot about black feminism and how like the original feminist kind of wave in the 1920s and fighting for like women's suffrage movement and stuff was very centered on white women and ignored the intersectionality of people's struggles. And like, that's really important, which is why being like, oh, you're only this, like, people are like multi-dimensional and they're not only one thing. Yeah, we can leave it on that message, unless you have more thoughts.
Burn down your flags. Fuck this country.
That's rule number
17?
13.
13. Okay.
Burn the American flag.
Truly, I can't believe we are in this day and age, in this modern time, and we're still doing the same shit. It's like that video that's like, when will you learn? When will you learn that your actions have consequences?
This is me screaming at the Democratic Party.
When screaming at, I was about to say creaming. Screaming at every party.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe we're here. Like, how can they like preach so much? Oh, we have to learn history. History's so important so it doesn't repeat itself. And then repeat history.
Well, they
Gotta be-
also purposely obscure parts of history.
They do. They're probably not going to talk about how much America helped fund so many genocides. They're not going to
They
talk
don't
about
talk
that.
about that at all. They don't want people to know that.
They don't.
We live in a very war-oriented society.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of crazy. And like I keep bringing up classes because I'm learning things that are connected to what we're talking about, which I think is exciting and cool. But we read this poem from a Native American woman who talks about the Dakota Uprising and this tribe who like essentially had their land stolen and like who rose up against the government, and 38 men were hanged for it. Like 38 Dakota men were hanged for it under Abe Lincoln's government. And he's postured as this very like, oh, he did the like emancipation and ended slavery, and he's this like progressive guy. And it's like, well, he killed these indigenous people and like took their land.
Yeah.
So like, and the whole poem was like, here's this thing that we don't talk about. So they do obscure history intentionally.
Yeah. I didn't even know about like the amount of like racism towards Asian Americans. And like how we literally had what was it? I think it was like for Chinese people during like one of the world wars.
Japanese internment camps is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because we were at war with Japan during World War II.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Because they were like an imperialist power as well. And they were like we were at war with them, and we put all the Japanese Americans in essentially concentration camps.
Like we literally are like,
we did concentration
look what Germany
camps.
did. Germany's so bad, and look what they did to
and we're gonna
concentration
put-
camps. And then like look back around, and fucking America is doing it. And I didn't learn that until much later, and that's crazy.
I'm gonna talk about my modern world history teacher my freshman year of high school, who, and this is like the class I met one of my best friends in, and we bonded over how much we hated this teacher. Speaking of bonding over hate, but we didn't really have a World War II unit, which is crazy in a modern world history class.
Yeah.
But she essentially, like, kind of made excuses for Hitler.
What?
It was like he was exposed to a strain of anti-Semitism. It wasn't really his fault. Like, it was, kind of did some Hitler apologism. Apologism is not a word, but I'm making it one. And then, like, showed us this documentary about our war with Japan that was so fucking racist.
Oh.
I'm just gonna say there was a white narrator doing voiceover for Japanese people,
Jesus
and there
fucking
was
Christ.
an accent.
Oh my god.
And it was really awful.
That sounds awful.
And there was also a moment in the thing where it was talking about Pearl Harbor, where like Japan did target a military base. Like I'm not into people like bombing shit, generally speaking.
Yeah.
But like they did target a military base, and the whole thing is like, oh, it was so horrible and awful, and all these people died, and all these families suffered on Hawaii. Meanwhile, in the mainland U.S., they're just happily being sent to these internment camps for the time. Like, it just made it like this positive thing, and I'm like, they're just putting people in concentration camps. I had a conversation with, like, I was like around a dinner table with my family, and this was when my dad was still married to my stepmom.
This has to be the last story.
Yes, but she literally, I don't know why we were talking about World War II, but we were talking about, my aunt said something about like Japanese internment camps being fucked up, which, yes. And my stepmom was like, well, they had to figure out who were spies or not.
What? What
And
the fuck
like,
are you even saying?
yeah, that shit was crazy. I was like, oh, you're like evil.
Oh, I get it. So you're evil.
So you're evil?
God, if my grandmother's literally racist, so I get it. And I'm like, you're literally also a minority. How can you be racist against the other minorities? It's literally, we're supposed to be coming together as a community, but no, I'm like, how? I don't know.
I'm gonna leave it on this because we're talking a lot about unity here.
Yeah.
And there's this concept called third worldism that like became popular during the gay rights movement and stuff like that I've done a little bit of research into. And this idea of people who come from the third world or live in like what's considered the third world, like just having solidarity with one another. And there's like a queer branch of that, but it just is a movement of solidarity of oppressed people. And it's like, yeah,
if we all move together, we're not so oppressed anymore.
And even with people like Trump supporters who are working class, who voted for him, I'm like, you voted for someone who is going to harm you. Like, they're all, I mean, everyone within the government is looking out for corporations and for profit. That's the thing. Which is why I'm like,
people didn't even know what they were getting into. There was like a spike in researchers, or like in the research, like, what are tariffs after Trump became president? Like, people are like, oh fuck, wow, wow, I shouldn't have voted him. And it's like, we were telling you this from the beginning.
Yeah. But I think, I mean, yeah, people are like voting for someone who's going to harm them. And it's like, they don't have your interests at heart. And someone like I want Trump supporters to have their material needs met.
Yeah.
Like, they're assholes. But like, I'm over here, like, they're over here, like, being like, oh, fucking deport all the migrants. And I'm like, I just think you deserve to have basic human rights.
Yeah.
Like, I'm on your side fundamentally. I want
literally
everyone to live a life of dignity and where they're like safe and have their needs met. Everyone deserves that. Like, we're all human. Yeah.
Unless he's not human. Okay.
Except Trump, he's not human. He's a lizard person.
He's literally has like a human skin on.
All right. Let's leave it on our 13 rules.
Come together.
That's come together.
Come together.
Come together, but
yes.
Also come together.
But also come together. That's so
Is
sweet.
that rule 17?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Our 17 rules: don't talk to cops. Don't talk to straight people.
Don't touch people.
Don't touch people. Don't kill yourself.
What was rule number 10 and 13?
There was something about killing yourself.
Oh, God.
But, like, it was after... We're not gonna end it.
We can't even remember our own rules. But you heard them throughout the episode. Go follow them. God.
We're gonna end it with this lovely little song for you guys. It's by Carsey Blanton, so shout out. It's called Ugly Nasty Call Me Bitch, and I think it's a great message to end our podcast on.
In the morning when I leave my den, I moisturize with the tears of men. Stir my tea with a crucifix. I'm an ugly, nasty, call me bitch. In the evening when I'm on the rag, just rip up a couple of American flags. Take a nice hot bath in the blood of the rich. I'm an ugly, nasty, call me bitch. I try to think, but it hurts my brain, so I have an abortion and I find champagne. I'm a Jezebel, I'm a wicked witch. I'm an ugly, nasty, call me bitch. Weekends when I want some fun, castrate a man, take away his guns, drive a classic car into a ditch. I'm an ugly, nasty, call me bitch. Well, I know I am, but what are you? Some fascist bootleg Nazi tool, a whiny boy with a tiny dick, or a dumb fuck redneck backward hick. Did I get it right? Did I peg you yet? Maybe we don't know who we ain't met. Maybe nobody wins, but they already rich. If you're a dumb redneck and I'm a commie bitch.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode
of the Queer Peer Podcast.
I'm Riverday.
And I'm Tamara Omnicorn.
Remember to be here and stay queer. And then we kill ourselves.
No!
We're breaking our own rules. Oh, fuck.